down every branch. When you're walking my path, I make all roadblocks shatter like glass. We are always together. I'm the iron in your blood. Life now has you down, but you rise from the mud. I made you a general. Life is your battle. You'll have ups and downs, like my scale when it rattles. I gave you two swords, called knowledge and wisdom. You'll fight for justice, or end up in prison. We don't like liars. We can't stand thieves. We fight for the good, and bring the bad to their knees. I'm the iron in your blood. We'll always flow steady. And if war shall come, we'll always be ready.
When you're on your path, there are always going to be tree branches that stand in your way. These tree branches are called problems. Some are big and some are small, but they all have the same goal, and that's to block your vision to see what's ahead. The reason that there are so many branches scattered all over the place is because they're competing for your attention. As long as your attention is on the branches, then you're not looking ahead and focusing on your goal. Let's say you're going to school and studying to become a doctor. Walking that path requires a lot of studying. It also costs a lot of money to complete the course. You may have to work 2 jobs to pay for schooling. That's already 2 big tree branches in your way. Your significant other may want some intimate attention. That's another tree branch. If you have children, that's multiple tree branches. Children require you to spend time with them. If they're in grade school, situations like parent-teacher conferences, school events, and activities that they are part of will occur. Children also come with doctor's appointments and dental checkups, which also requires time away from your studies. Another set of tree branches that grow are renewals. You may have to renew your license or tags if you own a vehicle. Depending on where you live, going to motor vehicles to renew those items may require taking time off from work. The amount of time that you spend there waiting on your number to be called is also taken away from your studies. Owning the vehicle comes with other sets of tree branches called maintenance. Those branches are things like oil changes, tune-ups, and tire rotation. The more you get into your studies, the more tree branches that will appear. You have friends wanting to hang out, phone calls or meaningless conversations, and events that you're invited to. Every tree branch that stands in your way is not frustrating. Branches of temptations are full of leaves that are filled with THC. I'm keeping this book kid-friendly, but most of you adults know what I'm talking about. These are the branches that tempt you to abandon your studies. Your favorite sports team may be in the playoffs competing for the championship. Season 3 of your favorite television episode may be airing, or your favorite music artist is coming into town and will be performing. Even though these are tree branches of pleasure, they're still distractions. The number one goal for distractions is to block your vision. These tree branches are competing for your attention. Notice how each and every day there's a new distraction or problem that comes when you're working on something. If you're focused on the problem, then you're not moving forward. That means you're standing around looking for branches, thinking of how unfair it is that they're blocking your path. The branches distract you because they don't want you to know about that Ogun that lives inside of you. Ogun is the iron that flows through your blood. Ogun represents taking action. Ogun gave you 2 swords, one called knowledge and the other one called wisdom. When it comes to your goals, your sword of knowledge will get you there, but your sword of wisdom will keep you there. Take one last look at all the branches that are in your way. Now pick up those swords and start chopping as if your life depends on it, because it does. Now let's get into the sword of knowledge. The sword of knowledge is needed for us to gain responsibility. For those of you that don't know the true definition of the word responsibility, it means the ability to respond. If you cut your grass, more grass will return. If you pull the weeds out of the garden, more weeds will return. And the same thing for those tree branches that are blocking your path. As you cut them down, they will return. Everything in the third dimensional world has life. If you allow the tree branches to grow, they'll become stronger and require more force to chop them down. It's better to respond to them when they first appear. One thing about tree branches / problems is that they grow in the same pattern. After several cycles of chopping down the same branches, you'll begin to know when and where they'll grow, and you'll be able to subconsciously chop them down without thinking about it. The sword of knowledge makes your ability to respond even stronger. As the section of the path is cleared and you move further on the path, there's going to be new sets of tree branches / problems that will occur. You outgrown the first set of problems, and now you have a new set of problems. I wish I could tell you that the further you go on your path, the easier things will get, but the truth is the exact opposite. The further you go, the bigger the problems get. The tree branches will become stronger and require more force to take them down. Just like the first section of the path, you have to become familiar with these new sets of problems until you can subconsciously take them down. Going through these problems feel unfair, but they are actually a measurement of your growth. When you notice the problem / tree branches have gotten bigger, that means you've become bigger. The further you go on your path, the new problems will become more challenging, but you'll become a giant to your old problems. You'll continue the process until you've cleared every section of the path. Once you reach the end of your path, that's where the sword of wisdom is needed. Let's get into the sword of wisdom. You've done all the hard work of clearing your path, and now you're enjoying the rewards of your hard work. The sword of knowledge got you to your destination. You've now mastered the art of chopping down tree branches. Now it's time to master the sword of wisdom. That's what will keep you where you've worked so hard to be. All the rewards you've accumulated from your hard work now have to be protected. There will be plenty of forces that will feel entitled to your rewards. Let's call those forces invaders. Invaders will come in the form of family, friends, scammers, and plotters. You must use the sword of wisdom to cut them off as they approach. Let's say your path has led you to becoming a A-list movie star. Before you can even sign that first check, the invaders are coming. Let's get into some of these invaders. Let's start off with family. Because of the emotional attachment you have to them, family can hurt you the most. Your family will feel that they're entitled to your rewards because you share the same blood. Now that you're in the public eye, your income becomes public information. Now, when they ask you for a favor, you can no longer use the excuse saying, "I don't have it." You have to learn the true art of saying the word no. If they ask for a favor and you grant their request, just know that it's not going to be a one-time deal. The moment you do something for one family member, now the whole tribe is coming out. That will make the family get-togethers very uncomfortable. If you show up, then the topic will be what you've done for one but didn't do for the other. If you don't show up, then they'll say, "You think you're too good to be around us now that you made it." Next, let's get into friends. Sometimes friends can be closer to you than your family. Your friends are the ones you hang out and have a good time with. As you're introduced to this new fancy life, you'll want to share it with your friends. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a natural thing to do. There's always going to be that one toxic friend that always gets in trouble and expects you to bail them out. That friend will feel as if they're above the law because they now see you as their safety net. You may have been there with them through the thick and thin. There may have been times where they were there for you when no one else was. As they create trouble for themselves, it makes it hard to say no when they're in need of a bailout. As soon as it starts affecting your social status and costing you even more money, that's when you'll start saying no. Saying no will make you feel guilty at first, but the sword of wisdom will guide you through. Now let's get into scammers. Scammers are the ones who disguise themselves as the bush while making their move to take everything you worked so hard for. What makes scammers so dangerous is that they have no guilt, compassion, or any shame for their actions. They feel entitled to take what you have while offering nothing. They're masters in the art of disguises and trickery. They'll disguise themselves as the people you deal with every day to gain your trust, then trick you into thinking you're dealing with them as the scammers steal their identity to gain your rewards. After you fall for about one or two of their tricks, you'll know to use a sword of wisdom to cut them off as they approach you. Your knowledge will then recognize their trickery. Lastly, let's get into plotters. Making it to the pot of gold at the end of the path is beautiful, but yet it's unfamiliar territory. The plotters already reside in that territory, waiting for people like you to get there. They already know that you're not familiar with the new lifestyle. Their number one goal is to attach themselves to you. I'm talking about lawyers, agents, managers, and the other 5%ers. Those percentages add up. Let's say you earn $10 million for the year. Now let's say the percentage gang is taking a total of 30%. That's now $3 million that's subtracted, not including taxes, other fees, and travel costs. Yes, their services are needed, but it's best to pay them for their services without letting them take percentages of your income. Another group of plotters, I like to call them undercover lovers. Undercover lovers will wait for the right opportunity to attach themselves to you. Their interest is not you. Their interest is in your rewards. Their number one goal is to increase their lifestyle off the labor from your hard work. When they no longer need you, that's when it's time for them to move on with their stuff and some of yours also. Always keep in mind, as you reach a new level, you don't know what you don't know. In order to gain wisdom, you must go through some of these experiences. How could you recognize joy if you never felt pain? Once you gain wisdom, you now recognize these problems as they occur. That means you become a hard person to fool. Every step you take as you walk on that path, you are in your Ogun energy. You'll chop every branch one by one until you reach the end of your path. Then, once you receive your rewards, you'll protect what you've worked so hard for with the two swords Ogun provided you. Ogun is the iron inside of your blood. Once you recognize his energy, those intruders will be no match for you.